Hey guys, Stephen Cox here, and today we're going to learn how to play A Whole New World on the U-Bass. So if you like videos like these, please subscribe below. The tabs are free on my Patreon, but if you'd like to make a request, you can become a patron. So for the chorus, we're going to play the 6th fret on the E string with our thumb. And then we've got the part that everybody recognizes. So after we've played the 6th fret on the E string, we're going to play the 7th fret on the G string again. And then we're going to play the 8th fret on the G string with the 6th fret on the E string at the same time. Then we're going to jump up to the 12th fret on the G string, and then we're going to slide our hand back so that we can get the 10th fret on the G string, the 7th fret on the D string, and the 8th fret on the A string all at the same time. And then after that, we're just going to hit the 8th fret on the A string by itself. So let's just do those two measures together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we're on to measure 12. It's identical to measure 10. So we still got that. And then we're going to jump down to that same chord. We have the 8th fret on the A string, the 7th fret on the D string, and the 10th fret on the G string. And then after that, we're going to play the 10th fret on the D string, the 8th fret on the G string, the 7th fret on the D string, really fast, then the 7th fret on the G string, and then we're going to wait a second and play the 7th fret on the G string again. So that part's going to sound like this. I'm going to start from measure 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do that much together. 1, 2, 3, 4. In measure 13, when you hit that last 7th fret at the very end, notice that I really quickly switch from my pointer finger to my middle finger on that 7th fret so that I have a pointer finger free to reach for another note in measure 14. So in measure 14, you're going to play the 6th fret on the E string, but you really want to keep that 7th fret on the G string held out. From measure 14, we hit that 6th fret on the E string, then we hit the 6th fret on the E string with the 7th fret on the G string, and we have these little triplet quarter notes, so the rhythms, and that's going to be both those notes together, 6 on the E string, 7 on the G string, then we've got 8 on the G string, and 10 on the G string. Then we've got a big jump. We're going to do our pointer finger on the 11th fret on the E string, and our pinky on the 14th fret on the G string. So this is measure 15. I think 14 is pretty self-explanatory, so we don't need to play through it. So here's measure 15 and 16. They're identical. So we're going to play the 11th fret on the E string and the 14th fret on the G string. Then we're going to play the 12th fret on the G string. Then we're going to play the 10th fret on the E string and the 10th fret on the G string. I like to use my middle finger and ring finger here. And then we got our pointer finger free to do the 8th fret on the D string. So we got... And then we just do that 2 times in a row. So let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now we're at measure 17. That's going to sound like this. And then 18. gets back into the melody. So here's measure 17. We're going to play the 5th fret on the D string and the 7th fret on the G string, then the 5th fret on the G string by itself, the 3rd fret on the G string by itself, then the 3rd fret on the A string by itself, then the open G string, then the 3rd fret on the G string. And then after that, we're going to play the 5th fret on the G string with the 6th fret on the A string. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the G string. Then we're going to play the 6th fret on the A string, the 7th fret on the D string, and the 8th fret on the G string. And then after that, we're going to jump up to the 12th fret on the G string. So let's play measure 17 and 18 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to play measure 19. That's just going to be the 8th fret on the A string, the 7th fret on the D string, and the 10th fret on the G string. And then you're going to play the 8th fret on the A string one more time. Alright, so now we're on to measure 20. Measure 20 sounds like this. So this is very, very familiar. It's very similar to measure 10. So real quickly, we're going to play the 6th fret on the E string, the 7th fret on the G string, then the 8th fret on the G string with the 6th fret on the E string, and then the 12th fret on the G string. Then we're back to the 8th fret on the A string, 7th fret on the D string, and 10th fret on the G string. So measure 21 is identical to measure 13. It's going to sound like this. But this time, instead of on that last 7 switching to our middle finger, we're going to do this instead. Because we're setting up for a chord that uses some fingers in front of the chord rather than behind it, rather than back here, it's going to be up here. So we're going to use our pointer finger for the 7th fret on the G string and both of the 7th frets. So then we've got this little G minor chord. And basically, we're already playing the 7th fret on the G string, so we're still holding that out. Then we got to curve our fingers up and over it so that we can get the 8th fret on the D string and the 10th fret on the A string at the same time. So this stretch is kind of complicated. If you have trouble doing it, I'd recommend just leaving out the 10th fret on the A string and just playing the 8th fret on the D string. So then if we're playing those back to back, you could just do that instead of. And after we've played the 10th fret on the A string and the 8th fret on the D string while the 7th fret on the G string is ringing out, then we can jump back to the 6th fret on the E string and the 7th fret on the G string. And this is another little triplet figure. And that's just on the G string, 7, 8, 10, and the only time we play the 6th fret on the E string is with that 7th fret on the G string. And we're just playing the other 2 notes on the G string. 8, 10. Now we jump up to the 11th fret on the E string and the 14th fret on the G string. And this part sounds like this. It's almost exactly like the part earlier, but we're going to go over it because the one note that's different. So we're going to play the 11th fret on the E string and the 14th fret on the G string, then the 12th fret on the G string, then the 10th fret on the E string and the 10th fret on the G string at the same time, and then the 8th fret on the D string. Then we're going to jump back up, the 11th fret on the E string and the 14th fret on the G string. And this time we're going to reach our ring finger up, because it's kind of hard to use your pinky. If you want to, you can, to play the 15th fret, and then jump down to the 10th fret on the E string and the 10th fret on the G string at the same time. And then after that, we still play the 8th fret on the D string. So let's play measure 23 and 24 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're on measure 25 through 27. We're just going to play the last 3 measures of the piece. So here's how they sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are all quarter notes, so it's a really easy rhythm. But we're going to play the 5th fret on the D string and the 7th fret on the G string at the same time. Then Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the G string by itself. Then we're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string and the 3rd fret on the G string at the same time. I just use one finger and bar the 3rd fret just to get that. But if you wanted to, you could also play the 3rd fret with your pointer finger on the A string and the 3rd fret on the G string with your middle finger. And then we're going to come back to the 5th fret on the G string. Then we're going to jump up to the 6th fret on the D string and the 8th fret on the G string at the same time. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the G string by itself. Then we're going to jump down to the 3rd fret on the G string and the 3rd fret on the D string at the same time. Then we're going to play the 2nd fret on the G string by itself. And last but not least, we're going to play the 1st fret on the A string, the open D string, and the 3rd fret on the G string at the same time. Alright guys, that's it for the lesson. I hope you've enjoyed learning a whole new world on the U-bass. If you'd like the tabs, they're available for free on my Patreon. And if you'd like to request an arrangement, become a patron. And at the $5 level, you can request your own arrangement or lesson. If you like videos like these, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.